Hey, welcome back to the JMFG podcast. This is Johnny MF Glenn. I'm just back in the studio again. You know, it's been a couple of weeks I've been out of the studio. Been doing some traveling, doing some working, doing a whole lot of stuff, doing some good projects and stuff, just volunteering some time. So that's why I was away. But anyways, I got on my buddy's shirt today, running and gunning from Jay. He was in our third group. Actually, if you guys haven't checked it out, go over and check out Chronicles of the Green Beret. I was on his podcast a few weeks ago, or actually a few months ago. He's doing some great stuff. So AJ, thanks for the swag, man. I like it, running and gunning. As a matter of fact, we're going to run that 100 milers. So I guess I got a shirt that I can wear. I won't be gunning, but I'll be running during it because I'm just a fag now. I'm a former action guy. But anyways, hey, with no further ado, guys, my guest I got on today, like I said, like you guys know, the show is all about helping through sharing. And the guest I got on today, the things he's doing, he's reaching milestones that I wish everybody that follows behind him has that same, compassion about what they're doing and helping people, especially operators as they're going through the things that we're going through. So with no further ado, we're going to get into this. We're going to talk about a lot of things today, things he's seen, things he's done, things he's working on to help, the community and to help guys, one guy at a time, just to get them better in their lives after they transition from the military. So with no further ado, my next guest, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to him so he can have the mic.
What's going on, John? Glad to be here, brother.
Yes, sir.
Funny sitting back in the same seats again after all this time. But no, it's good. Like I said, I'm in my transition period now, so I'll be hitting you up, and I might get you gainfully employed for some future projects.
I like it.
Monday we're going on one, so you're going to get to see another side of what I do for the foundation outside of scuba diving or health and wellness,
right,
but involves all the same types of ingredients from all our events. So you're going to have a good time with that.
I can't wait. Hey, so for everybody who don't know, Mr. Geoff Dardia here. Jeff's very humble, but he's worked with Task Force Dagger now for how many years?
13 years.
For 13 years, and you retired. When did you retire? You retired?
Should be out by October.
So Jeff's out by October. Don't y'all try to hire him. He's going to work at Task Force Dagger. But you can 1099, but come through me, all right? I want 10% charge. But yeah, so Jeff's done, phenomenal work for the last 13 years with Task Force Dagger. And I remember when you was working with Task Force Dagger, when I did the scuba diving thing with him, even back then, man, you were doing great things, and now you're actually going to be doing it, as a civilian.
Yeah, I started out as a volunteer, Chief Gronowski and I, Scott.
Yep.
We went down there basically to shadow and help with dive operations, then we ended up becoming staff. So
funny how that works.
Scott's like the mayor of Key West, so we fit right in down there, both of us combat divers. So
right.
we got hands in and just started running operations, and then I ended up needing help, and then the foundation stepped in for me when I was going through all my medical stuff. So what a way to get back, right?
Right, exactly.
All the things that I was able to find through all my self-discovery programs and modalities, was able to put them under one roof and start the program at the end of 2012 after I came out of NICO. So.
Hey, look here, I'm at the back Jeff up. What was that word you just used? Modalities?
Modalities, yeah.
Hey, look here, I don't know what that means, so Jeff, you have to explain that.
So modality is a type of treatment,
right?
Just think of, there's hyperbaric oxygen therapy, stem cell regenerative medicine. Mm-hmm. It's just each type are different modalities. So a mode of medicine.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, see for all y'all people out there didn't know. Yeah, hey, I'm from South Georgia, so I don't know, so you just asked, like, that's a big old word.
I've never been accused of using a big word.
That's a big one right there.
No,
So Jeff, in the last, I would say, well shit, we've been in combat now over 20 years, over 2 decades, but what have you seen the most in guys, like the most common trends? Like I would say the top 3 common trends you see in guys.
So, one is exhaustion, right? Mm-hmm. So our population group, anything worth doing is worth overdoing.
Right.
So we take everything to the extreme, and then that translates from we get out of the military, we get into another job or hobby, and we just go, and we never stop.
Right.
And so what we see is things like insulin resistance, things like sleep disorders, dysautonomia, chronic stress-related things where heart rate, blood pressure is not regulating properly. And then massive inflammation, like systemic inflammation throughout the body, arthritis, degenerative spine, knees, hips, shoulders, accelerated aging, right? You've heard the term operator syndrome before, and I'm going to use another big word here, but it's high allostatic load, allostatic meaning adaptation, allostasis means to adapt through hormones and neurotransmitters to your environment through your nervous system, right? So fight or flight response, freeze, rest, digest, feed and breed and all those things.
Yeah.
Your nervous system, you go out into an environment, it's constantly reacting to the environment. But what we do is we go into chaos. We grew up in chaos.
Yep.
So we go into that environment and our nervous system is constantly responding things. Not only is it responding, it's actively hunting things in the environment to look for. So we grew up in a high threat environment. Your nervous system saying, hey, we're not going to die. I need to be aware of what's in my environment, right?
Right, that makes sense.
And so
Definitely makes sense.
when that happens for too long, right, we were never designed to be in that constant hyper-vigilant, hyper-aroused state. Our bodies get into a state of catabolism or wear and tear and breakdown, right?
Right.
So what happens with that is when, I always like to use the car analogy. I'll use it every podcast I ever do because it's something you'll never forget. But if you can think of your nervous system like the gas pedal and the brake pedal, right? Your gas pedal will be your sympathetic nervous system, fight or flight.
Right.
We don't really flight in our profession.
Exactly.
If we run into gunfire, right?
Yep.
We always run into trouble like we're a moth to a friggin' headlight. And we do that all the time. So that fight or flight is a catabolic wear and tear breakdown. So when your body needs glucose or energy, right, adenosine triphosphate, ATP, that it's going to break things down in your body. So you got protein, you got carbohydrates and fats, right?
Yep.
Those are your macros. That's your fuel source.
Right.
And so if you're constantly breaking down your body and you run out of glucose, it goes into muscle and then fat last, right?
Yep.
So if we're not fueling properly in our body and we're constantly stressed, our body's breaking down. And if we don't deep sleep and relax, that repair can't happen the way it's supposed to. So we end up losing muscle mass, getting arthritis, getting tendonitis, inflammation, all these crazy weird things that, oh, you're just getting older, right? It's not that you're getting older, you're getting in a state of disrepair because you didn't use the brake pedal, which is your rest, digest, feed, and breathe, right?
Right.
So when you're chronically stressed, usually the first things that you notice are reproductive health, sex drive, libido,
Yep.
like fertility issues, weight gain, muscle loss. That's because the brake pedal's not being applied. So it's an imbalance. So going back to that allostasis or that adaptation, when you're doing everything you're supposed to be doing, eating right, trying to sleep and do everything, your body's not appropriately responding to your environment, that's the sign there's hormone imbalances and problems with neurotransmitters, right?
Right.
Because resilience isn't just psychological resilience, there's physiological resilience, right? So if we go to the gym, we break down muscle. Where do we build muscle? In the gym or the bedroom?
I would say in the bedroom.
Bedroom, right? Your relaxed spot.
Oh.
That's like your maintenance phase, your bedroom. And what happens with us from hypervigilance and hyperarousal from stress and trauma, we don't deep sleep because we're one man in the room by ourselves, sleeping in bed, we're constantly in tune to our environment. So your nervous system's like, hey man, we can't shut this all the way down. We need to be aware.
Right.
Stay alert, stay alive, right?
That's it.
Think of that. And that's exactly what happens to us. We get programmed in that for so long that when we come out of that environment, we're still in a hyper-aroused state, which one feels normal to us, but for everyone else around us that lives a normal life, they're like, what the hell is wrong with you?
Oh, I get that all the time.
Yeah.
My ex used to be like, you need to sleep. What is wrong with you? I'm like, hey, why are you sleeping?
Shit, sleep
Why are you sleeping? Not that's it. Every
Yeah.
sleep we did.
Sleep's a
I
crutch.
say that all the time. Sleep's a crutch.
Yep.
Just like I always say, gotta feed the machine. But if you're not resting it, then
Yeah.
you're basically just doing yourself a disservice.
I mean, I'll never forget when I came out of Buds. Like, I was like, I don't need to eat. I don't need to sleep. You know, I'll just stay up for a friggin' week at a time or days
you'll
at a
just
time.
be hard.
Yeah, like Dave Goggins, right? Like, literally, man, like, I remember driving from Maine to friggin' Miami and just didn't stop to piss. That was it. Just 26 hours of driving. Like, boom, you know? And I was like, that, I was like a fucking badge of honor to do that. And now I look at him like, you fucking idiot. You know,
Like
like,
you're dumb shit.
dumb shit, like, that was a kidney. I'm surprised I get kidney stones. You know what I mean? Blood clot. But I was just like, you know, I could do that, and I just thought I applied what I learned on the beaches in Coronado to everything I did in my life,
Yeah.
and was just like, you know,
I'm just gonna be a stud.
yeah,
I got this.
yeah, like you compare everything you did to the hardest things in your life, and you're like, oh, that's nothing, that ain't shit. And so what happens to that, though, is if you put the least priority on recovery and you put it all on breaking yourself down, guess where you're gonna be?
Broke down.
Broke down, right? And so your body is gonna quit a lot quicker than your mind.
Right.
And, you know, there's a certain reason we get assessed and selected to go where
Oh,
we
yeah.
are. Because we grew up in adverse environments in our childhood where we came in the military like, I'm used to this, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit, I escape that, I come to this, they give me a gun, I get to go out and do cool shit, jump out of airplanes.
Oh yeah.
Like, you're happy you're picking shit.
And you get paid to do it.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. It's like, people are like, was the military, was selection hard, grade school hard? I was like, I'm not being like an ass, and I'm not saying I'm all that, but they weren't. It was more like, man, this is cool. Like, I'm getting paid to do this, and
I'll never forget, like, after going through bloods, then going through selection. Like, SOPSI was a kick in the nuts. I will admit that. Tough program, right? But I remember going to selection. They put you in the little bay, and they're like, don't talk to anybody. But it was like no one was yelling at you, chasing you with a bullhorn.
whatsoever.
No, it was like, follow the whiteboard. Don't be late. Don't be last. Don't be like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I was just like, what the hell is this? Like, you're gonna let me go walk in the woods with a rucksack and a compass, and I was like, you're not gonna fuck with me.
This is awesome.
I was like, this is great. My friends are asking me like, how was selection? I didn't want to like, oh, it was great. I mean, there were some shitty things in there, but
It was
I was like, I don't want to jinx myself till I get through this fucking course, but I was like, that wasn't that bad. Like, it was me against myself.
That's it. It's all mental.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like,
And then,
what are you gonna bring on yourself?
And then I remember they did log PT. It was like, oh, okay, I have to go fucking run 3 miles with this thing and roll it in the sand. I was like, I'll be all right. I was like, I'm gonna be okay here. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just think on your feet. That's it. Think on your feet. And that's it. Just like you were saying earlier on the backtrack to where you was talking about like guys in that insulin level.
Yeah.
Or insulin level. So are we seeing guys now with a lot more diabetes in group? Because I know I've heard a lot of guys in.
So insulin resistance, pre-diabetes. A lot of people don't realize that type 2 diabetes is reversible. Type 1, autoimmune, you're stuck, right? Until we stem cell regeneration, stuff like that. But type 2 is, like I said, it's from chronic stress and overtraining, right? And so when your body, when you're in that fight or flight or you're doing endurance, if you're doing exercise like over 45 minutes, which I know you do, like, your body is going to break everything it needs down to keep going, right? And so remember I told you about muscles, they need that glucose, that glycogen. And so what happens is when you're under stress, your body keeps glucose elevated at a high level because it needs that for that immediate fight or flight or that constant ground and pound, right? And so what happens is when you keep glucose elevated for so long, you get insulin resistance. And what happens is that means your body can't utilize that circulating glucose and it builds up in your body, right? So the cells, like beta cells, right? Like when you hear that, it's not like your body doesn't have enough glucose, it can't store it or utilize it. And so your body becomes resistant to it, so insulin resistance. And so that's why when you have diabetes, you have to piss all the time because your body's trying to flush the excess glucose out of you. So that's a dead giveaway when someone's got insulin resistance, frequent urination.
And I've seen that on the team too. I've seen guys like that.
And thirst, right?
Yeah,
like
just thirst
constant thirst. Speaking of, I'm looking at my water over there. But that's the body trying to protect itself. It's a self-preservation mechanism. But we never talk about overtraining.
So how do we help operators that are?
We have performance dietitians on staff. Within our human performance wellness programs, we're underutilized because it's like bro science, right? Like, oh, I don't need that shit. I follow this guy or I do that. It's like
I eat 2 or 3 times a day. I eat a whole bowl of eggs for breakfast.
Like
I'm getting my protein.
I see that all the time, right? I wish I could have my dietitian on here, my partner, Prime Kate.
We'll have to bring her on next time.
Yeah, man. Like
definitely.
We underfuel. And like guys are like putting themselves in ketosis without even knowing it. But when you're under stress, you need carbohydrates. Like we're not trying to do bodybuilding competitions. Literally, you remember what we did in Afghanistan? 18-hour, 24-hour patrols. What, I had a couple of rip-its and some beef jerky.
And keep moving. Ripping it up, dude. Like, give me a rip.
Like, just imagine, like, knowing what I know now. Just like, how the fuck am I not diabetic or have all my kidney and liver issues and all those things? But I go back. I'm writing a book called The Operator Manual, right? It's not all about all the cool guy shit. It's literally how to operate yourself
and take care of yourself.
Think of a weapon, how to operate it, maintain it. How to do a function check, like how to know all those things. Repair, maintain. We don't teach that. Like we have the most sophisticated piece of equipment that was ever issued on the planet, and then we know the least about it. Yeah.
So what I like to see. This is me, and I don't know, you're probably already doing this, but why don't we put a class in, like, know yourself or operators course, in a Q course, in selection, like, you get done with selection, you get selected.
Yeah.
You should have to go to a 5-day course where you learn no bullshit. This is a dietitian. This is how you take care of yourself.
Yeah.
This is how you truly energize. Just like I got a 100-miler coming up, bro. So I'm gonna ask you right now, like, what would you recommend? Like I energize, because a lot of times, like you were just saying, I just go.
Yeah, I mean, you got to fuel, right? So you got to carry fuel on you. When you're in like a zone 3 and above event, some type of activity, like I learned because of mountain bike racing.
Yep.
I was chronically under fueling all these years, and like no wonder why I was getting muscle burnout and fatigue. You know, like when you start riding, you lose your vision.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and you're like, whoa, like that's your blood sugar crashing, right? Like, and I was like, I never understood that, and then I learned about all this stuff through my own work. And I'm like, holy shit. So when I would race, I would have, the goos.
Oh, yeah.
Or I'd have the little blocks.
Yep.
And they would be all down my frame. And I know that if I'm like, because when I raced, my average heart rate was about 170 to 180, right? For 2 hours. And, every 15 to 25 minutes, I'd be grabbing a block.
Yep.
So you're looking like at least 250 calories per every 20 to 30 minutes in a high intensity exercise thing.
Right.
And I wasn't doing that. Imagine in our military career if we knew this.
Oh my God, dude.
Mental alertness, speed, agility,
everything would have been better.
We were, fuck no. I remember doing patrols in Cobra, like, with nothing.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
and then we would always crash. Like, when we get done,
huge crash.
Guys would just be on the hood of the truck, just like, man, no, get off the truck, baby. Like, just done, just.
Yep. And I just look at it, I'm like, fuck, like, I remember when through Buds, they gave us the Navy SEAL nutrition guide, but we were like, I was fucking 20 years old, like, I don't need this shit, like, all right, hydrate, you know what I mean, eat chow.
I don't need to drink water, I don't need to eat,
Yeah, like, that was about it, like, you think you fucking knew everything then, right now, I'm an idiot, I should have read all that shit, but, that's part of my job now is education.
Right.
And education drives everything, I've been trying to implement it for a decade in group. Of, hey man, like, don't do what I did.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
learn from my mistakes.
Learn from my mistakes. Like, I was like, look, we're missing the mark. We put so much money on equipment, weapons, optics, and everything else, and we're proficient in all those things.
Oh, it's
we're not
great.
proficient in.
Yeah.
And we're the only fucking thing that can't be replaced.
Yeah.
Especially now more than ever, right?
Yep.
And I was like, my big thing was like, I just want to get to 20. Like, I was, team sergeant was my goal. I never wanted to be a sergeant major. I do want to be a staff guy.
Just get me to it all with you, dude. I hate staff.
Yeah, like, just get me across the finish line. When I came in to SF, I was like 28, 27, 28. I had a break in service from the Navy. So I was already an older dude who had been, I was medically discharged out of the Navy. I was an 80% disabled vet. So I was like, I can't make those fucking same mistakes.
Right.
Again.
Yep.
Right? And
you gotta keep yourself healthy.
And then going back, we talk about that later, tying your identity, what's on your uniform. I learned that lesson at a very young age.
Yep.
And then, I get in, I'm trying to tell the younger dudes, like, hey guys, you might want to pay attention to X, Y, and they're like, who the fuck are you? That doesn't apply to me. Fast forward, I'm still in uniform.
Yeah.
And a lot of these dudes got medically chaptered out. And they're tired out at young ages, right?
They're broke.
Because they're broke. And then the other dudes started picking up on it, and they're like, there's something to this, right?
Yeah.
So that's why, Kate and I and Christy Logan, we started educating people. We started doing the briefs, the operational environment briefs, to teach people. It goes back to risk management. It's literally just like, we put it in intelligence preparation battlefield format, right?
Yep.
Describe the environment, describe all those things. We did all the steps. So it's our language. We already speak that. Everyone knows mission analysis, right? So we put it in a format that green suiters understood, and they're like, oh, this is fucking so simple. How did we miss this, right? Like, go back to risk management. Identify hazards, assess and develop controls, implement controls, continually assess, apply it to us, right? What's in our environment? How is it affecting us? What can we do to protect ourselves from our environment? And then what courses of action do we need to develop to make sure we're ready and resilient all the time?
Oh yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. It's simple.
Simple.
It's not hard.
Not hard. So, did we ever learn about what was in our environment besides ambushes, fucking IEDs?
No.
Nothing.
No.
We didn't know about burn pits, toxic exposures, medications we were forced to take, chronic stress, chronic trauma.
Oh yeah.
Like all of those things we knew nothing about. We just keep going until the wheels fall off, right?
Yeah, because I just had Jason Newt on my board. I have you on that board too.
Yeah.
He just came on the show on the 7th, and he's actually running a course for third group next week in April. And he does a butchering course to showing people how to butcher meat properly, prepare properly, so guys are getting the best nutrition, the best cuts out of this meat, so the guys are actually fueling properly.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, so I definitely have to tie you into him.
Yeah, I mean,
But
that's
just
it.
stuff like that, like, we never learned.
Everything you put in your body is either fighting disease or it's fueling it. It's enhancing performance or it's degrading
Degrade more.
performance.
Yep.
Right? It's giving you cancer or it's fighting cancer. Like,
Yeah.
it's that simple.
It's simple.
Food is information. And
Yeah.
if you're putting shitty information in your body, you're going to have shitty outcomes.
Yep.
And it's that simple. And once people understand that, I'll use alcohol, for example, right? Like, it's institutionalized where we are, especially in the military. I'll leave it at that. Not
Yes.
exactly where we are. I won't
But
put
it's
that
true.
name on it.
It's true.
It's a group 1 fucking human carcinogen.
Yeah.
It is known to cause cancer and damage your DNA.
Yep.
But we celebrate
What do we do?
everything we do.
With a drink.
When your body dies of cancer, you go to fucking funeral, everyone's drinking, right? Like, like I see it, like, not everybody sees it that way. And, like, you know, I rarely drink. I actually had a drink last night with some friends, but that was like a rarity, right?
Yeah, same
like,
here.
and I don't have the urge to do it. I know what it does to my sleep. I know what it does to my body,
Yeah.
what my performance the next day, cognition and all that. And so it's like, hey man, we don't have to cut all these things out of our life,
Yeah.
but it's balance.
Yeah. On
It's-
that balance.
If you're going to be in the shoot houses all damn day, huffing in carcinogens and getting your head blown in, you're probably going to want to put gasoline on the fire when you get home,
Yeah.
right?
You don't want to have a drink.
No, like, I mean,
Mhm.
that's what we did to manage our stress and
Yeah.
workload, but there's better things to do. And, you know, it's just making better decisions. It's like land nav, right? Like, when you're moving short distance, a little fuck up's not a big deal.
Not gonna bother you at all.
Not going to bother you at all, right?
But a few K, you can be drifting right, drifting right, drifting right.
Boom, right there. So think of young private, right, making horrible decisions up here. What's going to happen at that 20-year mark?
Yeah. He's gonna be way off.
Way off, right? And so if you can just do little deviations at an earlier age with just a little bit of good information,
Oh, yeah.
you're going to have good outcomes
Mhm.
to get people across that finish line for 20 years.
And what I don't understand, and this is me, Jeff, and now they're doing it, what I really don't understand is that when me and you went through, you looked at back then, what, probably 1.6, 1.7 million in trans.
Yeah.
That's an investment. And the way I look at it, that's an investment.
Yeah.
Now with inflation, it's probably more to train these
Oh, yeah.
guys. So if you're looking at 2.5, 2.8, $3 million to train these guys, the first thing I would say is I want my best return on my investment. So I'm thinking like, hey, because at the end of the day, like guys are like, hey man, we got this new technology out. We got, bullets that can do this, and dude, you can give me a freaking M4A1 if
Yeah.
you wanted to, and give me bullets, I can go do my job. But it's like, no, we got to put all this money in research development. We want a bullet that'll do this and a gun that'll do that. And it's like, we can function with what we got. How about invest that like we're doing now into the people instead of the hardware?
Humans more important than hardware, right?
Yeah,
How
definitely.
many checks and services do our humans get compared to our hardware?
Exactly.
All right, so I'm glad you said that because I'll go to a couple stats right now. It's almost 80% of the population is ineligible to join the military because behavioral health issues, low IQ, obesity, the list goes on, right? That's almost 80%.
Damn.
Out of that 80%, how many of you think of that remaining 20% want to join the military?
I'd say 2%.
Less than 2%, right?
Damn.
And then how many of those can get into SOF?
Oh, that's 0.00001%, if that.
So our recruiting pool is shrinking. It's national security. It's shrinking every year exponentially, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, right?
So for all the countries out there, if you want to beat Americans, just caffeine this junk and let us.
So, I'm going to go back to cars again, right? You got a Formula One race car. This thing doesn't drive for 200,000 miles and get looked at every fucking 5 to 10 years, right?
Right.
Every time that thing comes off the track, it gets a full
It gets looked
rebuild.
at. Oh yeah. Yep.
All right, humans are more important than hardware, right?
Yep.
So when that F-16's flying for 8 hours or whatever and it comes back, it's not, hey, you're good, we'll see you in 5 years.
All right.
That thing gets checked.
Oh,
It
yeah.
gets maintained and gets repaired and it stays optimal. Not with us, right?
We come off deployment. What are we doing? We're
It's
training.
smashed.
Oh yeah, we're crushing again. You
Yeah.
come off of deployment. That makes sense right there. So now, I would tell guys to come off deployment now. Now is the time that you process yourself from head to toe. You refit, you rekit, you reorganize, you rest,
Yeah.
and then you get back in. You go back into a race again.
Yeah. Think about
Okay.
honestly, you ask anybody this, deployments are like vacation for us.
Oh yeah, we love it.
Slept better.
Always.
Less
I tell people
stress.
that all the time. Less stress. Even
Less-
though you're in a stressful environment, you could die every day. You're in firefights.
It's-
It was less stress.
You're conditioned for it.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
where you're adapted to.
Yep.
And then you come back out of that environment and you're like come back to the family,
You gotta pick your kids up from school. You're like, fuck, I'm gonna be late.
wife's like, I hate you, you're never home, get the hell out of the house, are you ready to deploy again? Like, You know what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah.
That's a massive amount of stress. So we never get pulled off the line and decompress.
Right.
So what we constantly do is, I call it stuff in the rucksack. It's like emotional constipation, right? You're just burying and compartmentalize all that stress.
Yep.
And then where do we go? Unload that stress overseas.
Right in combat.
Best fucking way to do it.
That's the best way to get rid of it. Yep.
Talk about that with everybody, right?
Oh, yeah.
Someone pisses you off, you can problem solve real quick.
Oh, yeah.
But you can't do that here with your family.
That's
And
it.
so it's like smash, like, and we come out of war, we can't go back to that. We're stuck with all that, right? That
Yeah.
rucksack's full. And, you know, I'll go back to the car, is that you wouldn't take a Ferrari and take it to Jiffy Lube for maintenance, right?
No. Not unless you're Johnny Glenn because I'm cheap. But like 29, let's do it.
So with an operator, you don't want to give them Jiffy Lube healthcare, right?
Right.
If you want to perform optimal, you need optimal health.
I totally agree.
Our guys do suboptimal health, and we have a special forces tab. It doesn't say
Oh, yeah.
normal or average forces.
Exactly, the specialists.
We get evaluated amongst our peers to perform optimally.
Right.
And when you're the Ford Fiat inside the Jiffy Lube, not getting maintained and falling apart, that bitch ain't gonna run you on the track.
Oh,
Right? Yeah, it's gonna be misbehaving. It's gonna be making bad decisions. It's gonna,
Brake's not gonna work. It's just gonna run right through stop signs, just tear shit up.
exactly, right?
Oh, yeah.
And that's what happens to the typical team guy when they hit about the 12 to 15 year mark. They hit the wall, and all of a sudden they're not making good decisions. Relationships are failing. Their body's failing, and they're in survival mode. They're dragging themselves across the finish line.
Right.
It goes from I love this job to I know I'm supposed to love this job to I just need to get fucking one more trip or promotion,
Yeah,
whatever.
That's it. I need a
Survival
deployment.
mode. Yeah, that's it. Like
I need a
you're
deployment.
scraping, right?
Uh,
We don't need to do that. Like,
I agree.
I'm 47, right? I'm
Yeah.
in, like my health now compared to was 10 years ago, huge difference.
Oh,
right?
same here. Same here.
And as we get older, because we're older, we're supposed to be worse.
Yeah.
But you know, when I hit the wall, it was like catastrophic.
Yeah.
And it was just like, okay, I'm a detriment to myself, my family, my team. Like, I need to fix myself. I need to do the maintenance. But it's bred into us to worry about everyone else before ourselves.
Yeah.
And so I was the last person maintaining myself. And knowing all this information, still doing all those things, even when I was running the program for Task Force Dagger, I was taking care of everyone else, but letting myself go to shit.
I just told somebody the other day, there's a good friend of mine, Miss Candace, her father's sick. And I called her, I said, hey, Miss Candace, check this out. I know your dad's sick. Y'all gonna take care of him.
Yeah.
But you need to make sure you keep eyes on your mom.
Yeah.
Because what ended up happening is, like my mom and dad, my mom was sick. We were all so focused. My mom's in the hospital with walking pneumonia. We're so focused on her. And my dad was in the corner dying. They like literally dying. And she passed, and 4 months later he went behind her.
Yeah.
Because he was having heart failure, all kind of
Stress.
problems. He was stressed.
Yeah.
And dude, that shit ate me for a while because I held myself. It was my fault. Like I should have been, you know, you're Green Brave, dude. You should have been watching everything. But I saw my mom, and that was the 10-meter target.
Yeah.
We gotta get her well, gotta get her well.
Yeah.
Well, that 2-meter target that's right there beside me is dying. I didn't even know it. Dude. It's
I'm
like,
glad. Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to go back to like all the programs we run, right?
Mhm.
So Task Force Dagger is a family-based program,
Yep.
right? You can't heal in an environment that made you sick,
Exactly.
right?
You gotta
So
get away from it.
you got to get away from it,
Yep.
or you got to fix the environment, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And when we send people all these awesome programs or hunting and fishing trips or whatever
Mhm.
these trips are, and we don't address the environment with the entire family and heal the family
You're
together,
not doing anything.
you're not going to heal.
Yeah. No.
You're going to revert right back to where you were.
Yep. As soon as you get back there.
Yes.
Yep.
So that's what you just said right there. I mean, that's one of the most powerful messages we can get out to people out there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Put on your own oxygen mask first, but most importantly, be aware, understand the operational environment, right?
Yep.
It's the first soft imperative
That's it.
for a reason.
Yeah.
And if you're only focused on one thing in the environment, all those other
Losing
threats are going to
everything
get you.
Oh yeah. And dude, when it hit me,
Yeah.
it was like, fuck, how did I miss that? And I remember talking to my dad.
Most
He's
people
like,
miss it.
yeah. He was like, I just want to go be with your mom. I'm like, you giving up, you know? And dude, I went off on him in the hospital. I'm
Yeah.
like, you're better than this. You're selfish. You know, you're trying to go be with my
I
mom.
got the same thing with my mom right
Yeah.
now after my dad passed.
Yeah.
She's just waiting to go, you know, like,
Yeah.
and same battle, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
Like for us, like if you died, like I've had so many near deaths in my life.
Oh yeah.
It's like you don't fucking take that shit for granted.
No.
You know, like
You-
every day's
oh,
a
yeah.
gift. And
That's
it's
it.
like when people get to that point where they're just like, I wish I wasn't here anymore. When you talk about suicide after, but it's like holy shit, man, like reframe a little bit, right?
Oh yeah.
But we don't. We put everyone else's needs above our own.
That's why that says find something you will die for and live for.
Yeah.
I tell people I live by that now. It's like I would die for all my friends,
Yeah.
all my co-workers, my family. I would die for them. So for me, when you just said the word suicide,
Yeah.
I hate when I hear not just a military, a Green Beret, a SEAL, or anybody. Why anybody committed suicide? I'm like, dude, there was something in your life you could have lived for.
Yeah.
Something.
But it's not even that. Like I brought up another good point, right? Like I used to say all the time, I'd die for my family. I need to live for my family.
Exactly. There you go.
Yeah. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you know, we get in that mentality. It's like, wait a minute, I need to be around for those people.
Yep, that's it.
Not put myself up, you know, take my own life or do those things. And, you know, I survey. So through my transition program, I survey people getting out of the military all the time.
Right.
How many of you in the audience have like thought about suicide, like taking your own life? So people over the 15-year mark, it's 50 to 70%, depending on the audience, who contemplate it.
Mm-hmm.
But the good news, like there's a gap closing now because of all the information getting out. We're talking about it now.
That's good.
More people are seeking help, which
That's
is
good.
incredible. You know, our behavioral health providers are swamped, but that's a good problem.
Yes, that's a great problem.
Yeah, it's better than that person that missed it, right?
Yep.
But, you know, we would think, like everyone always thinks after the war, suicides should go down. And I'm like,
no, they go up.
I said this in 2013. I wrote a letter to SOCOM and it was about the brain injury stuff and the suicide stuff. Because TBI, just so you know, is the #1 medical condition associated with suicide.
Right. Yep.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So we have a high-risk population group.
Oh yeah.
Blast overpressure impact, all those things, right?
Yep.
And then sleep disorder is #2 medical condition associated with suicide. And so we have about 80% of people with sleep disorders.
Mm-hmm.
Super high risk. So we have 2 out of 3. Number 3 and 4 medical conditions associated with suicide: chronic illness and chronic inflammation and pain. So suffering.
We got all of those.
Check, right? So high risk right off the bat just from doing what we do. Now, we came in the military not to escape, well, some people might have escaped things, but we came into SF to go to war.
Oh yeah.
So
put them in the big game.
Our guys don't kill themselves because they have to go to combat.
Right.
It's when they can't go to combat anymore.
Yep.
Lose their mission, purpose, focus, and identity. I knew because of what happened to me in the Navy, losing my identity and my purpose, I was in a very bad place mentally.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Horribly, right? I was ready to suck stored pistol. And I knew what was going to happen when the war wound down based off what had happened to me.
Yep.
And I was like, I see this train.
It's coming.
It's coming.
Yep.
And as soon as dudes got ripped off teams, you know, not a proper exit off the battlefield.
Oh, I was there. Oh yeah, I was there. Lost my family. Wait, I was there, dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
it's real.
That was one of the things I was like, shit, and this will lead into what we're going to do Monday, but getting that mission, purpose, focus, and identity back, right? You gotta have something outside of the uniform, spiritually, hobbies, family, to keep you bolted to this earth so you don't leave it early, right?
Yeah. You gotta have a purpose.
Yeah.
And one of my episodes, I'm trying to remember which one it was, we talked about guys just having a purpose after the military, because this is your identity. You're Green Beret, you're Johnny motherfucking Glenn, you're supposed to be, you're Jeff Dardia, you guys supposed to be do everything.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like, just like I said, I got a saying somewhere, my mom taught me everything I needed to know, but she never taught me how to live without her.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the military, they give you this identity, they teach you everything you need to know, and then they pull that away from you, you're like, all right, you didn't show me how to do what I need to do after this, you know, like what do I do now?
When you come in the military, you can't do anything alone, right? You got battle buddy, swim buddy, guy buddy, whatever, you ranger buddy.
Oh yeah.
But when you get out of the military, they're like, I'll see you later. That was
no
like,
buddy, you're gone. Yeah, see you.
Hey man, well, yeah, you know, you got your ETS day retirement, just let us know you're alive. Like, it's one of those things. And it was actually right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
CSMT goals, like,
Yep.
he knew what I did outside the military with Task Force Dagger. He's like, hey, can you like start something for the guys like getting out, transitioning?
Good on him, man.
Yeah, and I'm like, yeah, sure, when do you need it? He's like, well, you got like whatever, like a few months, 6 months, whatever, get something going. Next day.
I was like, 2 days later, you're like, hey, next day.
The next day, I sent him an email.
I'm all night, like, I got this shit.
It was part of my retirement plan. I was going to do. META, the Medical Education Transition Services and Advocacy, right? Meaning beyond, like in Latin. I already had this thing sitting here. I'm like, I want to do this when I get out. And I brought it to him the next day. He's like, are you fucking with me? And he's like, where did you get this? I'm like, this was like my calling, you know?
I've been working on it.
What happened to me getting out of the Navy was fucking catastrophe. I wouldn't want anyone to have to go through that.
Yeah.
Right? And we talked about
Same here.
the importance of a retirement ceremony, but
Oh, yeah.
proper exit is everything.
It is.
And if you don't leave proper exit after sacrificing all that, it's going to eat at you every single day of your life. Until you come to terms with it and understand what happened.
I had to. Yeah. So if my ex is watching this, which she very seldom does, so if any of my friends of my ex is watching this, make sure she watches this.
Yeah.
But I want to tell her I'm sorry. I apologize to her, Tyler, Sarah, and Lauren, because I did 21 years in 3rd West 4th Street, all on an ODA, deployed more times than I probably should have, and put them through hell. But at the end of the day, when I finally realized I was retiring, I just tucked tail and I left, dude. I didn't do no retirement ceremony. And Scott Gronowski, I will never forget the words that he said to me was, your retirement's not about you, it's about the sacrifice that they made.
100%.
And so for Sadie, Tyler, Sarah, and Lauren, hey, I appreciate you guys being there throughout my career. My kids had a great childhood. She had a pretty decent, life with the military providing, but I should have at least did that retirement for them. So for guys that are getting ready to get out there watching the show, getting ready to ETS, you just heard it out of, Jeff's mouth, you hear it out of my mouth. You owe that to your family.
Yes, 100%.
If nothing else, you owe them just that recognition. Even if they get yellow roses, red roses, or whatever they give them, and a coin, or even if it's just a day, the wife can go get her nails done. And
it's acknowledgement, right?
It's acknowledgement.
It's validation. Right?
That's it, man.
What do women need, right?
Validation.
They need heard, understood, validated. Imagine 21 fucking years, being with
running and gunning.
I mean, besides the military, we're not easy to get along with anyway.
Facts.
Because what we do, personalities, but it's like you got to acknowledge that.
Oh yeah.
Like
and
I'm fully aware now, especially like that's why I went through the Star TBI program.
Yep.
Like, my goal is to get married after I got a military, not while I was in, because it's not for everybody.
Right.
And
smart.
I knew I had to decompress and rewire and reprogram prior, because you got to be committed to someone if you're going to dedicate the rest of your life to them. It's not like a half in, half out situation. And I knew before I learned my mistake in my only marriage. I always used to say my first marriage. I was never married twice. I had to check the block to be an SF guy. So,
same here.
So everyone needs to start a marriage. So I learned that lesson is that, if you're going to, a vow is a vow. Like, I don't take anything half-assed when it comes to that. If I'm going to get married, I'm going all in.
Yep.
And it's all in, right? So when I do that, I want to make sure I am fully available.
Yeah.
Emotionally, mentally, spiritually, physically, whatever you want to say, but I want to be present.
Yeah.
And I knew when I was doing my job in the military.
You can't.
You can't.
No.
You cannot. There is no such fucking thing as work-life balance. It's a myth. And everyone knows that.
No.
Work-life harmony is what they like to say, but you know that your team, your mission, and everything, we
I have to say it
first.
The team comes first.
But
like, I remember Sadie would get mad, like, she's like, y'all on a 6-month deployment, why are we going out to dinner with them tonight? You've been home for 3 days. I'm like, well, we just want to do a team dinner to get everybody together because we're not in combat. You just want to be around those guys.
We spend more time with our teammates than our own families.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that.
It's a safety net.
That's fact.
But it's a safety net.
Yeah.
I knew if I'm sitting here, if something kicks off, and Rusty Cotton is sitting there, and DeMarte's sitting there, I'm not worried about nothing. He's like, let's handle it.
Yeah.
So you got to have that.
That's your pack, right?
That's it. That's it.
I always it's literally like a wolf pack. It's why when we're not with our teammates, we feel vulnerable and flat. Right? A lot of families don't understand that. Mm-hmm. Why can't we go on vacation? Why can't we go anywhere just me and you and do all those things? It goes against your damn brain.
It does.
Because when you're a family by yourself, you're in work mode. You're protecting your family.
Oh yeah.
Right? You can't relax and put your guard down. We know what's in the world.
Oh yeah. I tell my kids that my wife used to, or my ex-wife used to say, you got our kids brainwashed. I'm like, brainwashed about what? I'd be like, hey, y'all saw that car? Where'd you see that car? You remember that guy? You remember what it looks like? Yeah. And my daughters be like, hey, Daddy, we saw that guy at Walmart, this way, that on. And Sadie would be like, oh my God, you got them brainwashed. Yeah. I'm like, no, they need to know their environment. They need to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
Just like one of the best compliments, or 2 best compliments my kids ever gave me. Sarah got in a car wreck a couple months ago. Yeah. Guy hit her head on. And she told me, she said, Daddy, I was already wargaming what was happening when the guy was coming at me. Yep. I go, you doing what? She's like, I was wargaming, Daddy. I was going to downshift the third. I was going to do this. And he went there. And dude, to me, that was like, that's a compliment. I'm like, that is awesome.
That's how you stay alive.
And she did.
Preservation.
She survived. Right? Yeah, that's it.
So it's that double-edged sword, right? It's like, people like my daughter and my ex used to tell me all the time. They're like, why are you always, doing 3 things 3 steps ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's because that's how I got home from
Yeah.
Afghanistan. And it's not because, you know, you want to see the worst in the world. Like,
Yeah.
I've had to shift gears a lot since being out, well, I'm still in, but out of combat.
Right.
Like, you're never going to let your guard down when it comes to
Never.
that.
Hmm.
And it's always, it's not because you're scared,
It's
it's
self-preservation, man.
self-preservation.
Yep.
Like,
Just like people say, oh, that's racist. I hate when I hear that. Oh, that's racist. That guy just had baggy jeans on. And, well, I tell you what, the perception of what we've seen, if you got baggy jeans on, I don't care what color you are, it's a learned behavior. I don't care what color you are. You can be black, white, doesn't matter. If I'm walking into Walmart, black guy's walking out at 1 o'clock in the morning that looks like a thug,
Yeah.
from what I've seen, I'm going to have a different perception on how I'm walking into Walmart.
Yeah.
If I see a white guy walking out like he's a method, I'm going to have a different perception of how I'm walking into Walmart.
Yep.
That's self-preservation.
Yeah.
That's how we stay alive. When
Yeah.
people are like, oh, that's racist. No, it's not.
No.
That's why we're getting so many of these damn shootings. I'm like, y'all did not see that guy walk all the way across that parking lot
Yeah.
with the damn M4 in his hand
And a
and get into
duffel
a
bag and a
mall.
trench coat.
In a duffel bag and a trench coat. And y'all
Yeah.
just on your phones. And it's like, no, that's not.
Bystander effect.
Yeah.
That's where we're at now.
It's sad, dude. It's
Yeah.
terrible. And it's like, nah. So I got my kids where they pay attention to everything, dude. And I love it. I freaking love that, you know?
And that's it, right? Like, it goes back to the family. If they need to understand too. You know, one of the worst hurtful things I had when ending a recent relationship was like, I don't know what the hell you did. Like, that's a two-pronged thing right there, but it's, one, you never took the time to learn, and I tried to tell you, you didn't listen. But it's like, if you did understand what I went through, you'd probably
wouldn't leave me. Or you, yeah,
you probably understand why I was doing the things the way I
Yeah.
was doing,
Mhm.
right? That's understanding someone, right?
Yeah.
And not because it wasn't about you.
Exactly.
And that's like, it's part of the environment we work
Oh,
in.
yeah.
If you want to be, you know, married to one of us or dating one of us, that's a two-way street. You need to understand why.
You need
we're
to understand it.
operating
Yeah,
the way
you
we
do. Oh, yeah, I agree. I agree.
And then that's
Mhm.
part of that retirement and transition.
Oh, yeah. That's why I'm still single now, dude. Like,
Yeah.
I went out on, I think, 1 or 2 dates, man, maybe 3 dates at the most.
Yeah.
And everybody I meet, dude, I don't want to say they're stupid, but it's like, God, man, I've messed up with Sadie big time because it's like, she understood it, and now you're like, I jacked that up. It's like,
We know, yeah.
yeah, it's like, oh, like, you messed that up big time.
I mean, we might as well go into this topic too.
Yeah.
But that's another thing we never got a manual for, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like,
Mhm.
you know, for us, we're always seen as we have to be the protector. I don't want to say Captain Save-A-Ho.
Yeah,
But
the provider.
we provide solutions.
Oh, yeah.
We're problem solvers,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Provider, we make sure no one fucks with you. And we make sure you got a roof over your head, the lights are on.
That's it,
Like,
you got food.
remember, I'm dependable.
Yep.
I'm never going anywhere. Most
Mhm.
loyal dudes on earth.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, you get into this environment, but what we do is speak Army, knife hand, right?
Yep.
And it's not like we do everything to a vote.
Oh, exactly. Yep.
Like,
That's it.
hey man, like, this is how it's gotta be. Like, we never got told to be more self-aware
Exactly.
of things, how we're affecting people, because the way we talk to each other,
It's not how
not how they want to be talked to.
I have had my ex tell me one time,
Yeah.
we are not soldiers. I just like,
Yeah.
we are not guys on your team. I'm
Nice to
like,
hear it.
what do you mean you're not guys on my team? But I had no idea how I was talking to him.
Yeah.
We were getting ready to go somewhere, and I'm like, hey, we need to be, truck need to be loaded, yada, yada, yada. We got a time at SP's at 10 o'clock, you know?
Yeah.
They're like, we can be 15 minutes late to the baseball game. No, we got to fucking yada, yada, you know?
Yeah.
I'm like, we got phase lines in this operation.
Yep.
We need to be there, you know? So,
Yeah, they didn't understand the importance of that, right? Punctuality and,
oh yeah.
you know, I'll go to certain triggers, right? Like, you never want to be flapping on the battlefield, right? You
No.
never want to be with your friggin' head down.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, think of like going through a parking lot in the
Oh,
middle
yeah.
of the night, we just talked about that,
Yep.
right?
Mhm.
And you see people, my ex used to sit in the car with their head down on her phone in a parking lot and just do this.
And it's dark. Oh,
It's
yeah.
dark. And I'd be like, are you fucking crazy? Like, you cannot.
I
do
don't
this.
know, are you kidding me right now? What are you doing?
Like, you cannot walk like from point A to point B with your head down.
Yeah.
Easy target one, but you have no situation awareness.
None.
Yeah.
None. I just almost walked into a girl the other night. Well, actually, when you were in Wilmington,
Yeah.
I was leaving out an outdoorsman,
Yeah.
and this girl was walking into the outdoorsman, just looking down on her phone, dude. I stopped and just looked at her. I go, you gonna run right into me? She's like, oh my God, I'm sorry. And I go, I'm not a real big guy, but I go,
Yeah.
and she wasn't a real big lady. She's probably 5'3",
Yeah.
small petite lady, just staring at her phone, dude. I go, you gonna walk right into me? She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, right then, dude, I could have did whatever I want. She'd never knew it.
Yeah. I have to catch my daughter doing that all the time.
Yeah.
Hey man, when you're walking and stuff,
Pay attention.
she knows now. Like when she goes to her friend's house down
Oh,
the
yeah.
street,
Yep.
I make sure they go in pairs.
Yep.
You know, I watch them, you know, make sure they're good. Hey, let me know when you get
Text
there.
me when you get there. I tell my kids. You heard I told Lauren, she was leaving, hey, text me when you get the mummies.
Yeah.
I know when you get there. Because what I tell my kids is, if somebody kidnapped you and somebody called the cops, the first thing I want to know is when was the last time I spoke with you and the time. Because now, baby, while they're sitting there making their calls, I'm chasing you back and I'm drawing, I'm like, they could have got here and here in the last 12 minutes. I know where to start looking. And now I'm calling uncles like, hey, Uncle Jeff, I need you at this point. Hey, Russ, you need to be at this intersection. DeMarnie, you at this, or Alan, you at this one. We slowing that place down right there. We're finding you within the next 20, 30 minutes.
It's funny you say that because, like, in a relationship I just got out of, like, she couldn't figure out how I knew all these things, right? Like I was a fucking 18 Fox, like pattern of life, all the surveillance, counter surveillance shit we do, like.
It never stops.
I've been living here for 12 years. I know exactly how you operate. Like
I know exactly what you're gonna be.
People are creatures of habit, right? Like not just her, but anyone in life. People they go to the same restaurants, they stay at the same hotels, they do all those things, right? Like it's not that big of a secret.
It's not.
No,
it's not.
And it's like
Thursday night now it's pickleball. You got pickleball every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Right. Just like me and you, if they want to find you, find a racetrack, you're going to find them there sooner than later.
Every Tuesday.
You know, you're going to be right there. Just like me, if you want to find me during, whatever certain months, hunt months, he's going to be in this deer stand, he's going to be in this area this day, guaranteed. So
I just tell him, I was like, look man, like, don't hide shit from me or don't try to pull the wool over my eyes. You realize what I did for a living.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, just fucking be honest with them.
I already know you've done something before you even tell them.
Bingo.
Just by your body language.
Just by body language.
My kids will come in the house and they'll tell, what'd you do? Nothing. I was like, look, man, I already know you've done something. I already got a phone call. And then they just spill the beans. Well, me and my friends, we went out, we did this, we did this, we did this. I'm like, why don't you just come over and tell me that? And there ain't nothing I hadn't done.
No. And that goes back again to everything in our environment. Because think about when we were on patrol. Hair and neck goes up. One little tiny thing that no one would ever notice is off, and you see it, and you know it.
Oh yeah, you see it.
We come back home, that doesn't shut off. Right?
It doesn't.
So
that's not something about it. Never. And that's what I wish, like, knowing what I know now, like you're saying about your body, I wish I'd have known now or then what I knew about myself when I was married to Sadie, because Sadie is a great woman. And, when you're married to somebody like us that never shuts off, I could see where that would become, like,
huge.
It's huge to them, like, oh my God, I just want to go out and have a dinner, and it's like, oh my God. Like, why can't we just do a movie night at home or something? Like, I don't want to go around people because I got to turn this shit off, and it doesn't turn off.
I mean, women want an emotionally available man. Do you think we're emotionally available?
Not really, not at all.
Right?
Now, when it comes to the kids, we can be pretty emotional to the kids.
Of course.
But usually another adult dude is like...
It's a challenge, right? If someone gets in your face or challenges your authority.
And I don't know how many times I heard, you have no empathy. I got all the empathy in the world. I'm probably the most empathetic person you ever meet. But it's like when I look at you, you're crying over something, and it's like, why are you crying? Like, what are you crying for?
Like that's like something I had to actively work on. Like after you get out of a long-term relationship, you reflect and you go back and look at all the fuck-ups you had. Right?
And all the things you said.
Everything you said, did, opportunities missed. It's like fuck, and it's like
how did it last that long?
No. Exactly. And then it goes into like, okay, well that trained us for whoever gets us next. And then the ex is like, you asshole. You know what I mean? Like, you put me through all that and the next girl gets none of that. You know what I mean?
I met a young lady, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm a different breed. Let me go explain it to you. I was like, there's no schedule with me. Everything is kind of like, hey, what do you got going on? When I called you, like, hey, you want to come and show you? I'll be there tomorrow. No worries. I'm riding my bike doing it. We free flow. And that's hard for people to understand.
That's how I was. Same in that relationship. It was like, I need this planned, I need this, like a 5-paragraph op order. I'm like, dude, I'll go anywhere, wherever the fuck you want to get in.
Let's just go to the airport and just look at, hey, what's the next flight? Yeah, that's what we're getting on. Like, we don't know nobody there. Hey, we got to figure it out. We'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
Yeah, so it's crazy, man. And what's funny is, it's not really funny, but it is. It's just two of us sitting here. If we brought 100 of us in the same room, same answers. Same answers.
Yeah, I used to say all the time, like, you think I'm the only guy that's like this? Like, I'm like, go fucking date any single one of us. Like, it's a necessity. They don't assess and select us because we're a fucking the Bachelorette. It's a Bachelor show, whatever. Like, you're a borderline fucking sociopath. You're a borderline personality disorder.
You're borderline narcissist. You're borderline everything, dude. We are.
Normal people don't go do the dumb shit we do. And it's like, they don't understand what we've put ourselves through before we even went to war, right? To get to where we could go to war. It's like normal people don't do that.
It's just like people like, why would you want to dive in the ocean scuba diving? Why wouldn't you? Why do you want to jump out of a perfect flying airplane? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Those are the things we look. Anything that I tell people all the time. If it's close enough to kill us, we want to do it. We want to be like the best.
The only time you're living is when you're close to dying. Like,
that's it.
That was like me. That for all my heart.
Oh, yeah.
Everything, mountain biking, surfing, skiing, everything I did my entire life.
Yeah.
Ask anyone who knew me growing up. I wasn't like that after the military. Before I came to the military.
Yeah. Oh yeah, same here.
The military channeled it,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like people don't understand that. There's a two-pronged approach to that, right? One, it's a distraction.
Yep.
Two, I mean, adrenaline's addictive. It's
yeah.
like trauma bonding in a relationship. That cortisol and norepinephrine, you get hooked.
It's just going.
Yeah, you get used to it. Your body says that's the normal. Going back to relationships, why people crave chaos to go into relationships.
Yeah.
That's why we attract
crazy women. Crazy women. Let's just call them crazy. Yeah. They are crazy women. And we like it because they're almost as crazy as we are.
It's familiar.
It is.
It's familiar. And that's the only type of woman that can usually hang with us.
Yeah.
Is someone who's also like us, right?
Borderline.
Yeah. It's exactly what it is. And you figure, it's like, I wish I fucking knew that at the beginning of my career. You figure it out after the divorce, right? You're like, oh shit. You know, my therapist laughs at me all the time. She's like, all right, dude, like, when you get out, no more blondes. She's like, you want to get remarried, no dad issues, like, you know, like, hammer.
All the things I can fix.
Yeah.
I got this. I got this.
Challenge accepted, right? I'll fix it. So,
Daddy wasn't there, let's fix this.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm not perfect, like, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, it's so fucking typical, though. It's like stereotypical.
Oh, I know, dude.
But we're all cut from the same cloth. So we attract who we are. So that's, like I said, that'll be part of my book, too. It's like, wish I'd known that, right?
I can't wait to read it. That might be the title, dude. Wish I'd have known that shit.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, I mean, looking back at it, we can laugh at it, right?
Yeah.
There were some fucking tough times that we
dude.
Like, no one understood. It's like when we went overseas, we didn't know if we were coming home, and then we come home, and it's like, fucking the toilet seat's fucking up or whatever. It's like, really?
This is what you're worried about?
Really? Oh yeah, fucking the laundry's hanging off your bed or whatever the fuck it was. Like, I was like, dude, this isn't on my radar. I'm sorry, but like. You know,
least thing on my mind. Oh yeah, bro. Least thing on my mind. You were about a toilet seat. That's the least thing on my mind. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I just fucking. Oh, I gotta go to the 18 Fox Court. I gotta go to fucking Sephardic. Or, you know, it's like, the fucking toilet seat's up. The grass needs to be cut. I'm just like, if you had any fucking idea.
Was as I'm pushing the lawnmower, just beating the shit out of everybody in my mind. Like, oh my god, I cut my damn grass.
Yep.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, we look back and laugh at it now, but it goes back to mutual understanding.
That's
right?
it, man.
Coming back to the family, we don't understand what our families go through when we're gone, and
they don't understand.
What we go through when we're gone. And if you want a relationship to last, you need mutual understanding, communication.
Yeah.
And you know, I'll wrap it up with that as far as like the family stuff goes. But
that's good stuff.
You know, I wish I could take back all the dumb shit I said.
Oh, same here, dude.
You know,
all the hurtful things. Because I realize now, and this is what I tell my kids, and I stress this, and to all of you, especially the soft guys, and all military, I will say this. And my ex used to say this all the time, words have meaning.
Yeah.
And we'll say them whether we're angry or whatever reason why we say them, we hurt those people. Unlike
us, take it back.
You say something hurtful to me, I'm like, oh, he's pissed, I'm good because I know you. Whatever.
Yeah.
But with a woman, a significant other, when you say that to them, it ain't fire and forget.
Nope.
That shit,
that ball doesn't bounce back up.
No, they just keep that right into the dude, because my ex would say things, remember you told me this and you told me this, and I'm like,
no.
I said that?
You're a liar.
You're a liar. I said that?
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
I don't remember that. Yeah, I'd be so mad. I'm like, I don't remember saying that shit. Yeah. And you did. And you know, all I can do is apologize. Now, guess what? Oh, you're not even being sincere. You're just being an asshole. No, I'm telling you, I'm truly sorry. I just don't remember it. So I can't give you the emotion you want because I truly do not remember it. That was something that we were hot in the moment or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. You can't reel those things back.
Right? Can't reel them back. So what I would tell people is just, hey, take that tactical pause before you say something.
Yeah.
And just know that third, fourth, fifth order effect, if you let it go and you say it, it's going to hurt. So.
I mean, and I'm not making an excuse, but I can tell you what happens when your nervous system is in survival mode, you don't think, you react.
Right.
And so this, like, I'll go back to, you know, some stellate ganglion nerve blocks.
Yep.
Ketamine therapy, plant-based medicine, all these things, right? Like, when you get that nervous system to calm down, before that mouth goes uncyclic, it's like, I probably shouldn't say this because I'll never take that back.
Right.
But when your nervous system's stuck in survival mode, you don't
Straight
think,
cycle.
it's automatic cycling. Fire and forget, right? It comes out and you can't reel it back.
And then they say something back, and you say something, and
That's
then
the way
it's a firefight.
Yeah, that's exactly what it
And
is.
it's a firefight. And then, I do that. I've sat in my house.
It's a friendly firefight.
It's a friendly firefight where you not want to kill nobody, but you want to kill them with words.
You're trying to,
I'm going to win. I'm going to win. I'm trying to protect myself.
trying to protect yourself, you're trying to stop
Oh, yeah.
pain, right?
That's it. It's a
And
firefight.
It's like a tragedy.
Yeah.
Because you got two people who love each other that feel like they're both on the defense.
Yep. Mhm.
But in reality, it's a miscommunication.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was like the hardest thing, the hardest lesson to learn with that. It's like, because the women that are attracted to us, they're traumatized too, before we even met them. You know,
Now we're adding more trauma.
now we just gave them a whole fucking new batch of trauma on top of it, right?
It's just throwing gas on the
Yeah. It's like, I used to say,
burn, baby, burn.
I'm like, man, you picked the wrong motherfucker to be in a relationship with. You know, like, this profession, you know what I mean? Like, if you came from that in childhood, but we know why, because it's familiar.
Oh yeah.
But it's just like, man, like, why don't we have this information?
Oh, yeah.
Like, our psychologists, when they select us, they know.
Yeah, they know it. Just
know.
tell us.
Just fucking, hey,
Tell
man,
us.
if you're going to get married, you might want to learn X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
It's like giving someone a fucking, you know, a 600 horsepower car to your 15-year-old kid.
And
Like,
just go drive.
go drive.
You'll learn.
Yeah, because marriage is cheap, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're not going to feel
And
that
divorce
when it
is cheaper.
crashes.
Oh.
So yeah, so it's
Yeah.
like, it's like one of those things where it's like, all right, if you know we're fucked up because of these things, give us the resources to work on these things before we
Get
get
better.
married.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get better.
Like, we need to have those discussions
Oh, I
at the
agree.
beginning, not after the $100,000 divorce.
I agree, brother. You
Yeah.
just got out of it. Or been out of it, but still. But hey guys, hey, thanks for being tuned in, man. Me and Jeff just sit here and talk all day. I know he's got a ton of stuff to do. He's gonna go ride his bike. I actually gotta go out to the farm. I got some goats I gotta take care of. But hey, thanks for tuning to the JMFG podcast. I hope you guys got something out of it. I'm definitely having Jeff come back on probably sooner than later, because
Yeah.
I'd love you. We'll work out a date, get Kate back on, talk about nutritional stuff.
Yeah, man.
And I want to talk about all the stuff we was talking about today, just because there's a few things I want to talk about. I'm gonna release that people don't know.
Programs.
And I'll talk about programs and stuff like that. But having said that, brother, hey, I appreciate you coming on. That was good stuff. Appreciate you coming on. Loved it. That was good.